United States credibility is damaged. Hello, and welcome to the Black Bibalist News Channel. In today's discussion, we'll be addressing a critical issue, the damaged credibility of the United States on the international stage. The United States has been providing Israel with weapons and ammunition used in their military actions in Gaza. Unfortunately, this support has resulted in devastating consequences, with the majority of the casualties being civilians. This situation has sparked outrage worldwide and called into question the moral and ethical stance of the United States. International criticism has intensified, especially as the United States continues to stand by Israel, even as many other nations and organizations label these actions as potential genocide. This discord particularly is evident in forums like the United Nations, highlight the growing isolation of the United States on this issue. Or on the battlefield, but there's also a war fought on the world's public opinion. And Israel has lost the war of the world's public opinion for excessive civilian casualties. Now let's move on to another critical aspect of this issue. Israel has lost the war of public opinion worldwide due to excessive civilian casualties. Recently, just Saturday, a tragic event unfolded where 90 civilians lost their lives. Israel targeted a Pacific location, believing it housed a high-ranking Hamas leader, reportedly the third in command. Despite the known presence of civilians in the area, Israel proceeded with the bombing, which resulted in the deaths of 90 people and 300 injuries. The targeted leader was not even among the casualties. This incident is part of an ongoing pattern. Israel's military actions have repeatedly resulted in high civilian casualties, drawing a widespread condemnation and costing Israel significant support in global public opinion. Many people around the world view these actions as disproportionate and inhumane, leading to a growing call for accountability and change in military tactics. The international community, including various human rights organizations and countries, has increasingly criticized Israel for these actions. Despite this outcry, the United States, alongside a few other allies such as Britain, continues to firmly support Israel. This unwavering support, despite widespread condemnation, further isolates the United States from the global consensus and contributes to the damage to its credibility. Israel's disregard for international opinion and law. Apart from losing global public opinion, Israel's actions have also demonstrated a blatant disregard for international law and global norms. The repeated targeting of civilian areas and the high civilian death toll have raised serious questions about their adherence to the principles of international humanitarian law, which aims to protect civilians during conflicts. The Geneva's conventions and other international treaties establish clear guidelines to minimize harm to non-combatants. However, Israel's repeated military actions that result in significant civilian casualties suggest a neglect for these important international standards. This disregard has only exacerbated the disapproval from the global community and underscored the necessity for accountability and judicial review. In several instances, Israel has been accused of committing war crimes and violating human rights, particularly with excessive actions leading to civilian casualties. These allegations have fueled the call for international investigations and accountability, pressing the United Nations and other international bodies to take firmer stance against such breaches. The crucial, heartbreaking aspect, the children of Gaza who have been deeply traumatized by the ongoing conflict. These children survivors of the relentless bombings and warfare are growing up in an environment rife with violence and death. They have witnessed their families, friends, and neighbors killed and their homes destroyed. This relentless exposure to trauma is having a profound impact on them. The trauma inflicted on these children has a far-reaching impact. The loss of loved ones and the constant threat of death instill a deep-seated thirst for freedom and self-determination. For over decades, as the conflict between Israel and Hamas or broader Palestine continues, the resolve of these young individuals to fight persists and strengthens. These children, scarred by war, will likely become the next generation of fighters. Their experiences and their family suffering drive them towards a singular goal: freedom and the right to self-determination. This relentless cycle of violence only fuels the ongoing conflict and hardens the resolve of each new generation. Looking back at the history, we see a pattern of escalation. Initially, Palestinian youths, armed with only slingshots and rocks, faced the might of Israeli army. These were symbolic acts of defiance from a people striving for recognition and autonomy. However, over the years, the resistance has become more formidable and sophisticated, signifying a shift in tactics and resources. This evolution underscores the dire impact of prolonged conflict and occupation. The more the situation intensifies, the more resourceful and determined the resistance becomes. Each generation born into the cycle of violence learns from the past and adapts, finding ways to fight for their cause. And as we wrap this up, it's crucial to understand that these developments will only perpetuate the cycle of violence. The trauma inflicted on these children ensures that the conflict will continue into the next generation, influenced by their desire for freedom and justice. Our next segment will delve into the broader implications of this enduring conflict on the region and international community. Israel's goal to eliminate Hamas, is it even possible? We're going to explore the feasibility and the human costs associated with Israel meeting their goal. to eliminate Hamas. As we move forward towards the conclusion of this video, let's confront a critical question. Israel's declared goal to eliminate Hamas. Is this even possible without the genocide of millions of Palestinians in Gaza? Despite extensive military campaigns and countless civilian casualties, Israel has not been able to significantly weaken Hamas fighting capabilities. Hamas operates from underground tunnels while civilians live above the ground, often caught up in the crossfire. Now, here's the deception. Casualties versus Hamas's strength. The tragic irony lies in the fact that these considerable civilian casualties have not achieved the intended effect of dismantling Hamas. Instead, Hamas remains resilient, continuing their operations steadfastly underground. Military experts and analysts argue that eliminating Hamas completely is an unattainable goal. This is because Hamas represents more than just a militant organization. It's an ideal rooted in the pursuit of freedom and self-determination. The people of Gaza are unlikely to forsake this ideal, especially given the history of loss and trauma that has continually reinforced their resolve. The next generation of fighters, a legacy of trauma and resilience. The earlier segment highlighted the traumatized children in Gaza, destined to become the next generation of fighters. This new generation, shaped by their harrowing experience, inherits and perpetuates the legacy of struggle and resistance. The conflict with Israel fuels their desire for freedom even more. The cycle of violence, loss, and resilience continues, solidifying Hamas's ideological foundation among the people of Gaza. Now, the military reality versus ideological persistence. Military might can destroy infrastructure and take lives, but it cannot quell the spirit of an oppressed people striving for autonomy. The devastation wrought by this ongoing conflict only reinforces the commitment of the Palestinian people to their cause. So the goal versus reality, the unrealized goal. Hamas is an idea. In the end, while the stated goal to eliminate Hamas remains Israel's agenda, achieving this is practically impossible without resorting to measures that could potentially lead to the genocide of millions of innocent Palestinians. Hamas's spirit and the people's enduring desire for freedom make such a goal unattainable through military means alone. The way forward, understanding and addressing these root causes. To truly address the conflict, a shift in perspective is required, one that focuses on understanding and addressing the underlying causes of conflict rather than perpetuating endless cycles of violence. And you know, one of the solutions is a two-state solution. In conclusion, the Israel's action in Gaza and the resulting civilian casualties have significantly eroded its global support and demonstrated a troubling disregard for international law. Meanwhile, the United States' unwavering support for Israel, despite international condemnation, continues to harm its own credibility and standing in the global community. And situation in Gaza is deeply complex and fraught with human sufferings and resilience. The goal to eliminate Hamas is not a military challenge, but an ideological one entrenched in the collective experience and aspirations of the Palestinian people. A resolution to this conflict demands a compassionate, comprehensive approach that acknowledges their right to freedom and self-determination. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I want you to listen and to the next slide and like, share, and comment. And let me give me some feedback and how you understand what's going on and in Gaza. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in.